5 tools you should have installed, registered, and up and running if you're serious about investing. These aren't just 5 random apps, they're 5 apps that serve different purposes, complement each other, and together give you pretty much everything you need. Let's get started right away with the first tool, and for me, it's pretty much non-negotiable if you want to invest abroad. And that's XTB. And what I mean by this is that some people think investing is just about buying real estate, opening a CD at a bank, or maybe getting into a mutual fund. And that's fine, those are options, but the world doesn't end there. The global financial world moves through stock exchanges like New York, London, and Frankfurt. You can take part in those markets just like any investor in the world. XTB is the broker that lets you do that in the easiest way I've seen so far. So what can you do with XTB? Quite a lot. You can buy shares of companies like Apple, Amazon, or Tesla. You can also buy ETFs, which are basically investment baskets. In other words, instead of buying just one stock, you buy a bundle that contains many inside, which helps you diversify your risk. For example, the famous S&P 500 ETF, which with a single purchase lets you invest in the 500 largest companies in the United States. You can also trade CFDs if you have a higher risk profile and know what you're doing. And for some time now, it has had an option that I personally think is one of the most useful they've launched, which is investment plans. This literally lets you say, I'm going to invest $200 every month in this specific ETF, and the platform will automatically make the purchase for you month after month. This is pure gold for someone who doesn't want to be glued to the charts and just wants to build wealth in the long term. But what I'm getting at here is what makes XTB special. First, it lets you deposit using local payment methods. Second, commissions are 0 until you exceed 100,000 euros invested in a year. But even if you have that amount, the commissions are still pretty low. Third, it's both basic and advanced. Many people ask which platform to start with, and I say don't just look for the simplest option. If you'll eventually want something more advanced, start with a platform that allows for that. Now, be careful, as XTB isn't perfect or the only one you'll ever need. It has its limitations too. XTB won't work for you except for a few specific stocks, which you're actually investing in through the US stock market. And in that case, you'll have to look for another platform to invest locally. Also, if you withdraw money and use a certain method, you might get charged a pretty high fee. That's why it's important for you to know how to use it. In fact, we have content showing you how to make withdrawals correctly so you don't run into any issues. But as a tool to access the global market, it's hard to find anything better. Well, like I was saying, XTB is missing something. It's missing the local aspect. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Let's move on to the second tool. And here the whole picture changes, because now we're shifting from the international market to the local market. When people talk to you about investing, you immediately start thinking about the United States, the S&P 500, Tesla, Bitcoin, and you forget something really important. There are also companies on the stock exchange here. We have our own stock market. There are opportunities here too, and it's money that keeps circulating within our own country. Like I said in a previous video, you really only realize things once you put them into practice, not just through theory. Often, this information's up to date when I upload, but by the time you try it, it might already be completely outdated. Before you invest, you need quality information, and that's what we're going to talk about with the next tool. So let's move on to the third one. This is what really separates a true investor from someone who just buys stocks on a hunch or TikTok tips, rather than actually doing their own first-hand research. This tool is investing.com, and I have to tell you that just like with this tool, there are many others out there, but this one has been around for years and is trusted by a lot of people, including very professional investors who have also been in the game for years and are super famous for their investment moves. They use it too. There's the investing.com platform, which is public and free to use. You can use it just fine, but there's also Investing Pro, which is the premium version of investing, one of the most widely used financial information sites in the world. And what I'm getting at is that the free information you find on investing is already pretty good, but the pro version is on a whole different level. And why am I telling you this is important? When you're about to invest in a stock, you can't just say, oh, this company sounds nice, I'll buy it. It's like betting everything on red at a casino, and just like that, it's gone. To invest wisely, you need to know how that company's doing financially, what its revenues are, what its profits are, how much debt it has, how expensive or cheap its stock price is compared to its fundamentals, what projections professional analysts have for that company, and how it stacks up against its competitors. All that information exists, but it's scattered everywhere, and most platforms are incomplete or charge for it. Investing Pro centralizes everything for you in one place. For example, let's say you're thinking about buying Apple shares. You go into Investing Pro, search for Apple, and there you'll see a fair value calculated using several financial models. In other words, it's an estimate of what that stock should really be worth compared to what it's trading for on the market right now. It tells you if it's overvalued, undervalued, or more or less at its fair price. It shows you the company's financial health with a score, gives you the complete financial statements, balance sheets, cash flows, everything. It shows you Wall Street analyst price targets and lets you use screeners, which basically means filtering companies according to whatever criteria you want. For example, show me all the companies with a dividend yield higher than 5% and with low debt. This literally saves you hundreds of hours of research. And besides, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, well, that's what I use my go-to AI for, the one I always use. As I mentioned, the advantage investing has, and always will, is that they've historically gathered vast amounts of financial data. So, with so much data, there are no hallucinations. Unlike standard AI, where you might ask, hey, is this stock worth it? And it'll give you information that either isn't up to date or is just made up. Whereas here, it's data, real, reliable data that's actually backed up. Now, we also have to be honest. Investing.pro isn't free. It's a paid tool, and this is where people are divided. Some people say, I won't pay for information when I can get it for free on the internet. And look, yes, you can find a lot for free, but the time you'll spend searching, comparing, checking the accuracy between different sources, wondering if the information's up to date or not, that time also has a cost. If you're serious about your investments and handling significant amounts, paying for quality data is a top-tier investment, as one good decision can pay for your subscription for years. That's why in the description I'm leaving you the link and a discount code, because right now they're running some great promotions. So head over to the description, I've put the link there for you. We have international investments, local investments, and quality information to invest in these opportunities. If you'll pardon the redundancy, there's a whole world we can't ignore, and that's the world of cryptocurrencies. And before anyone tells me that cryptocurrencies are a scam or just a bubble, hold on, because what I'm getting at isn't just about investing in Bitcoin or Ethereum. I'm talking about something much more practical for the average Colombian. First, the main tool here is CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap is basically the encyclopedia of the crypto world. It's the website where you can check the price of pretty much any cryptocurrency that exists, their transaction volumes, market capitalization, which exchanges they're traded on, and very importantly, the ranking of the best exchanges in the world based on volume, security, and trust. This last part is key, because choosing a good exchange is probably more important than choosing which crypto to invest in. A bad exchange can go down, freeze your money, or in the worst case scenario, disappear with your funds. There have been plenty of cases like this. So what you do is go to CoinMarketCap, check the exchange rankings, and pick one that's at the top, with high volume, high trust, and that operates in Colombia. Among the most solid ones today are Binance, Bybit, OKX, Coinbase, and many others you can find there. Of course, everyone uses or chooses the one they want, depending on your profile and what you need. So what do you actually use an exchange for? There are three main things you can do with it. The first is to invest in crypto if you're interested, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or whatever you like. The second one, this is the one people underestimate, is to move money. You can convert to USDT, which is a stablecoin pegged to the dollar, and basically have digital dollars without needing to open an account in the United States, just like many other apps we have here locally. But here it's something massive and huge. So that's why an exchange is a bit different from this, because you have access to the entire crypto ecosystem. You're not just dealing with stable coins, like some of the local apps we have in Colombia. And obviously, this lets you move money between countries almost instantly and with super low fees. And the third is receiving payments from abroad. If you work freelance, have clients overseas, or create content and get paid in dollars, having an exchange lets you receive those payments and convert them whenever you want, not when a bank decides to do it. Now, obviously, this also comes with its risks, and we need to be clear about that. Cryptos are volatile. They can go up a lot and drop a lot. If you're going to get into this, do it with money you're willing to lose, especially if you're investing in small projects. Stablecoins are more stable in theory, but they also carry risks related to the issuer. They're not risk-free investments like many people want to make them seem. Also, when it comes to taxes, crypto is still a gray area. Clearly, profits from selling crypto must be reported. Don't go thinking that just because it's crypto, it's invisible. It's not. Well, except for some exchanges. But like I said, that's something you'll need to look into yourself in more detail so you can put it into practice and have first-hand information. The fifth tool, which for me is like the cherry on top, is that tool that once you have everything else working, helps you bring it all together and see it in one place. I'm talking about TradingView. And what I mean by this is that TradingView isn't a platform for buying stocks or executing your investments directly. Although there's a little asterisk here, because it does connect with some platforms where you can send trades directly from TradingView, but that's another topic. But if you don't want to, you can just do that on XTB or your favorite exchange. TradingView is the tool where you analyze, where you monitor, where you learn to read the markets. To put it simply, TradingView is the best financial charting platform out there today. Period. And that's important because when you're investing, whether it's in stocks, ETFs, crypto, currencies, whatever, you need to see how that asset is performing over time. You need to see clean, clear charts with indicators you can customize, with alerts that notify you when a price hits a specific value, and with the ability to track multiple assets at the same time. TradingView gives you all of this. And the best news is that it has a free version that's more than enough for most people. TradingView offers a lot. You can create watch lists to track stocks, ETFs, crypto, and currencies in one place, showing prices and changes. You can set up alerts, like notifying you if Bitcoin hits $80,000, or when the dollar exceeds 4,500 pesos, whenever that happens. You can analyze charts with technical indicators like moving averages, RSI, MACD, Fibonacci, and pretty much all the ones out there. There are even templates created by people who already use the platform, and you can access them, saving yourself, as always, the most valuable thing humans have. It's also a huge community. I feel like this is where the real value is, because you can see the analyses that other users post, which is interesting since it gives you different perspectives. But keep in mind, this doesn't mean you have to copy what others say. It's simply a way to see things and, again, save time, because others do the analysis for you and you can easily gather information from different sources. And you can look up practically any asset in the world, from stocks to commodities like gold or oil. What I like most about TradingView is that it becomes like your dashboard, your central control panel. Keep your diversified portfolio in XTB, free, or your exchange, and use TradingView to see everything in one place, regardless of where they're held. For beginners, it's a great learning tool. Playing with charts and indicators to see how prices move builds invaluable intuition. If you're interested in me making a complete TradingView tutorial, by the way, from scratch, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to put one together. Remember, tools are just that, tools. Having the best app in the world won't make you a better investor if you don't build the mindset, habits, and knowledge behind it. Financial education will always be the most important thing, and that's where these tools start to make sense. If you've made it this far, leave me a key emoji in the comments section, because these 5 tools are basically the keys to the world of investing. See you next time. Bye-bye.